Mike's on.
All right, a little after 6 o'clock here. No baseball tonight. Someone called before about how racing has changed. It has changed so dramatically, folks. Remember when you saw, like, Mrs. Genter when she was, like, in her 90s, and you see that, or you hear about someone who might own a horse, and, you know, or even a couple of guys who got together, even the big group that owned Funny Side. At least they were a bunch of regular guys, and they came on a school bus, so they kind of, you know, they had not been racing long, and they hit it with that. So there was some charm to that, even though it was a big group. Now you have these horses chopped up like crazy, and it's not a pleasant part of this business. There's no charm to it. So when you look tomorrow at a horse, they're not going to. What story is TV going to tell you about a horse that is 60% owned by Windstar Farm, 25% owned by the China Horse Club, and then you have three other groups in the other 15%, and one of the other groups that they owners all act like they own Justify. There's 10 owners who own some part of the other 15% of the horse. Starlight Racing, Head of the Plains, BF Bloodstock, they're all, SF Bloodstock, they're all in the horse. So basically, the horse is managed by Windstar Farm, who is a very big and very successful racing outfit. You know, which is run by an ex-trainer, Elliot Walden, who actually kept Baffert from winning, with Victory Gallop, kept Baffert from winning a Triple Crown. He manages the horse. Then you have China Horse Club, which has spent, hey, listen, I've had China Horse Club outbid me for horses, so I know they're there. I mean, so they're a big outfit. They're a major outfit. So, but the idea of these syndicates, and listen, that's the way the game has gone because the game's gotten so expensive. But what the syndicate does is it drives the single owner out of the buying of horses through the auction, because the auctions are not a good place to buy anymore for a lot of reasons, and mainly because the syndicates drive up the price, and they don't care because they're just going to chop the horse up anyway and sell it. Take a management fee, chop the horse up, and boom. Then I'm worried about the prices. So the prices get out of hand, and that's what the people who breed the horses want, because they just want a good price for their horse, which I understand. That's the business they're in. They're spending money, you know, breeding horses. They're running horse farms. So they just want people to pay for the horses. What do they care? So the more you get, they don't care if there's 400 owners on a horse. But so when you look tomorrow, there's not going to be one person or some story to tell. There's going to be, as Baffert joked the other day with us, I haven't met a lot of the owners. I don't even know who they are. Well, how would you know? You got 9,000 syndicates here. How would you know who the heck's horses they are? I mean, he might train for some of these different groups at different times, but you got to remember, if someone like Starlight's in the business of putting syndicates together, they have different people in different horses. They don't have the same people in every horse. They have different people in every horse. They might have some of the same people. And, you know, I've seen syndicates that have 100 people in a horse. So, I mean, most of them aren't that big. But still, it's not like it used to be where you had a family that might have a whole bunch of horses. Or you might have a story of a little old lady whose horse, you know, kept her on the farm. Or the story of, you know, Penny Chenery and Secretariat, which was told so well. Now, a lot of that wasn't exactly true. There was a little bit of, you know, license in there, if you watch the movie. But still, there was a woman who represented the horse. And she became, you know, kind of a first lady of racing as she represented this horse. Yeah. And so, you know, that's that kind of owner, or the guy who's a big part of racing, who's put a lot of his years and his fortune and all that into one horse or into a whole group of horses. I mean, that kind of stuff, there's a charm to that. That's been lost, unfortunately. But, you know, that's the way the business has gone. It's gone to these syndicates. There's very few individual owners anymore. It's very hard to compete. I mean, there are some wealthy guys who have horses and have a bunch of horses, but they're few. They become few and far between. A lot of them have gone by the wayside, and their kids might not be involved or something like that. So, I mean, I was rooted for the Phipps horses, not just because I knew the trainer, but because they put so much into the sport. They ran such a first-class operation. You wanted to see them do well. They really cared about it. It was a big deal to them. Now, they had a tremendous amount of money, which we know, but the thing is they really cared about doing this the right way, and that's why I always wanted to see them win, because they did. They put a lot into it. So when you saw their colors and the whole deal, now it's just, it's a three-ring circus. So tomorrow, if you see, a scene where Justify wins, there would be so many people on that. There would be a cast of thousands in that winner circle. And the guy who has 1% basically shows up at the track, acts like he owns the whole horse. I mean, that's just the way it is now. So, but listen, only one person can call a shot on a horse. The way the racetrack runs it is, you have you can have a million partners on a horse. You have one person calling the shots. There's a managing general partner. You have to state one person is calling the shots. The track only deals with one person. On this horse, it's Windstar. Well, they own 60% of the horse anyway. And Elliott Walden is the guy calling the shots on the horse. So, along with Baffert. So that's the guy, and that's the guy you'll most likely see up front. But you'll see all these other groups, like Chris Mara's part of the Starlight group. Good for him. I mean, that's fine. I'd say, listen, it gets him in the business, doesn't cost him a lot of money to do it. You're not going to go broke, buying a horse this way. And that's the bottom line. But that's how a lot of people get into the game now. It really is. But it's a little different than having somebody own a horse and having a horse that, is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. This horse has got, I have no idea how many owners. I mean, might have 150, or might have, well, as an example, the Starlight folks have some portion of the last 15% of the horse. I can't tell you how much, because there's other deals here, side deals here, with SF Bloodstock, with Head of the Plains. So it's listed that Windstar has 60% and China Horse Club has 25%. That's 85. And then the last 15% is among the other three groups. And Starlight has 10 owners just for their piece. So they might have 10 owners for 10%. Who knows exactly how much you're talking about. But still, 1% of him, he's probably worth, if he wins tomorrow, he's probably worth 35, 40 million. Jim in Westfield. What's up, Jim?
What's going on, Mike?
What's happening?
Not much. Before I get to my point, if you ever want to crowdsource one of your horses out there, I'm sure Mongo Nation would jump on board.
Yeah, but I don't do that to people. I just keep a couple and own them myself. It's just my deal, because it's much easier. I've been asked a couple of times to syndicate horses. It's not something I really want to do to people, so I would never do it. I would not. I'd let them cheer for them, but I would. That's enough of a thing. They shouldn't have to share any expenses. I'll take care of that. It's an expensive business. It really is.
But earlier, I was just driving, and earlier somebody brought up the point of expansion, and I think a part of expansion that nobody talks about is just how there's not enough talent in these leagues to go around.
There is not enough talent, and there's not enough cities anymore to afford these.
But not even the cities. When you look at a quarterback like Tyrod Taylor, who's a coveted commodity in the NFL, there's a problem with the quarterback position, and that's just one instance. And then you look at baseball, and you got numerous guys hitting just above 200. I mean, the Mets are a classic example of it. When you just talk to, what's his name from SNY, talking about how everybody on the bench combined for 6 home runs, all with one guy. There's not enough talent to go around in these leagues, and it dumbs down and waters down the product to a point where it's almost unwatchable when you got a game like the Browns are playing against whoever, and it's a 7-3 game in the third quarter. Who's watching that? Nobody.
No, it's a fair point. Listen, you used to have much smaller leagues. Expansion has clearly watered down the product. I don't think there's any question about that. I mean, that goes without saying. When you used to have everybody playing on 12 or 14 teams, and now you have them playing on 30 teams, it's a whole different world. Steve in Bayside, what's up, Steve?
What's up, Mike? On all this Yankee-Met trade talk, the Yankees certainly have the chips to make a deal with the Mets that would satisfy the Mets. And even satisfied, by the way, what Sandy Alderson was saying about, hey, I want to win next year. The Yankees have guys that they could trade that could help them win, even this year. But it's not about that so much. I think the reason why that these types of trades don't happen, and the same reason why you don't tend to make trades in your own division, is that there'd be such a premium attached. And by the way, not even that the Yankees wouldn't be willing to pay it, but somebody else will come along with an offer for a comparable pitcher and say, why give up 4 players for DeGrom when I can take 2 or 3 for somebody comparable, you know? So it's like the market tends to take care of it.
I think also the other part of it is you have to live in the same town with your mistakes. And that's why if somebody wins the trade big, which can happen, it is a very painful experience for the other team. So DeGrom goes to the Yankees and has a sore arm, and Torres becomes a MVP for the Mets. That's a tough thing for the Yankees to swallow for years, and they're capable of swallowing, but it still bothers them. And I think that's the hard part is, you don't want to look at your mistakes if you make one. You don't want to look at them forever, which makes trading inside very tough. In the division, inside your same city, for the same reason, is because you're always reminded of your mistake. It never goes away. It's there forever. It's always, this guy. Hey, you gave me this guy. I got this guy. So that's the very hard part of it. Rob in Rockland County, what's up?
Yeah, how you doing, Mike?
Good.
Welcome back.
What's happening?
I didn't hear your take on this. I was just wondering, did you hear anything about where LeBron's going besides the Lakers or anything?
I've never heard anything about him going anywhere. I have no idea where he's going.
So you don't believe the reports that he's going to the Brooklyn Nets with Durant opt out?
Do I believe is going? Oh, shit, why? That sounds good to me. Why not? Hey, the more the merrier. Hey, let's get it. Come on. We can make better than that. Why don't we take like 5 guys and put them all on the same team? So now Durant's going to opt out, and he's going to join LeBron, and they're going to come to Brooklyn. Is that all? Wow, that sounds good to me. Hey, let's get it done. Do it tonight. So listen, that's the kind of stuff that goes on this time of year. So hey, people can dream. Willie and Wayne, what's up, Willie?
Oh, how you doing, Mike? Vinny, glad to have you back.
Hey, what's happening?
Okay. My first thing is going back, because I listened to you for 30 years. Do you feel a little better if I could make a Yankee note about Andujar? I think he's better than we already looked when he was 2 for 16. What do you think about that, Mike? You think he's really coming around pretty good now? Andujar? We're going to keep him, no trade?
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I don't know what your point was about Andujar. No one ever got on Andujar that I heard for the whole year. He's been doing well. He's having a good year. So, I mean, if he wasn't, he's a kid. He could have a bad year. He'd still be a good player. So I don't know what your point was. Brothers Supply is New York's #1 source for ice air, P-Tax, water source, heat pumps, and fan coils. Contractors and property managers partner up with Brothers Supply for all of your air conditioning needs. Call today for a quote or visit online at brothersupply.com. Remember, Brothers Supply has it in stock. We'll be right back.